Hi, everybody. It's Friday. Welcome to PoliTarology. I'm here with all of my friends, and we're going to be doing some PoliTarology for you. So I'm sorry we were a few minutes late. I don't know. I had to chat or something backstage. I don't know, but we're here now, and we're here for you. So we are going to take a few questions from the chat because I don't have a tremendous number of headlines to read from. But before we get started, I'd like to hear from everybody and have them say hello and find out what's going on their channels. And Val, if it's okay, I'd like to start with you.
Sure. Let's see. Tonight, Story in the Cards. You might want to tune into that at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Also, on Sunday, Scorpio Santero. I got that name right. Tune into that, I think 1 p.m. Pacific time. Join us. You can go to dragonflycrystals.store to find out all my classes because Gerald and I are doing another manifestation class. You are not going to want to miss it. Manifesting in the Quantum Field. That'll be June 9th on Sunday, starting at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern. So you'll want to tune into that. I also have meditation class coming up June 1st. And also an Akashic record reading class on May 11th. So nice. There's plenty of other things, classes as well. Besides that, go check it out, dragonflycrystals.store. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for all of that, Val. And nice to see you tonight. And Shari, what's going on with you?
Well, I got demonetized today on my channel.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, so I've got to spend the weekend figuring out what the hell they think I did and try to get it fixed. And in the meantime, y'all just donate to my Venmo or my PayPal. Okay. Other than that, I have Helen Irish Granny Tarot and Nate the Clairvoyant on tomorrow morning with me at 11 a.m. Central. And Night Owls tomorrow night at 11 p.m. And I don't remember after that. I'd have to find my book.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's good enough.
Great. So. Great. Well, thank you very much. And thanks for being here tonight. Cleo, what's going on for you?
Well, on Monday, many of us here have a big caffeinated and unfiltered. This is kind of a special edition because we just had one last Monday, but we're having another one. So I'm looking forward to that. And then on Thursday, we're doing kitchen tables with Marina and Colleen. And on Friday, no, let's see. On Saturday, wait a minute, where am I at here?
You're on PoliTarology.
I was just going to say, currently you're on PoliTarology, and your name is Cleo the Seer.
Oh, thank you.
Now that we've established the facts.
Well, for some reason, I thought I had something going on tomorrow, but I don't. So on next Friday, we're doing the cool Crone Oracle, and that's my week.
Very
Yay.
Cool. Thank you for being here. And Gerald, what's going on for you?
I'm TarotStache. I have done some great shows. I just did a Tarot the Stash Way this afternoon with Richie from Longman Tarot. Go watch it. It's really good.
Yes, it was.
I have a casual on Monday where I'm talking to Dolly from Wolf Girl Oracle. I'm doing readings with Jane the Seeker and Nancy of Crone's Intuition. And then Monday evening is a caffeinated and unfiltered. And that one, you want to be there because we're doing general reads. People, all they got to do is say me, and we are going to bust through as many as we can. So we're not doing specific questions. And then Tuesdays with TarotStache on Jane the Seeker, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. And I think it's just a good idea that everybody like, share, and subscribe to all our channels.
Oh, and that's the other thing I meant to mention is that I am streaming this to my channel, which everybody's streaming it to their channel. But I kind of get lost in the mix because, like, I don't know, I'm one of the shyer ones in the group. So if you could come over to my channel and watch this show, I would appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cleo, you're up to 826 subscribers.
Let's
Girl.
get Cleo to 1,000, everyone.
That's right. That's our
Go
next
over.
goal.
Anyone who hasn't subscribed to Cleo,
Oh my
here,
God.
let's get over there and subscribe. I know both of my channels are subscribed.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Everybody. I hope everybody gets, 50 subscribers tonight on all of their channels. I think that would be fantastic. And that should be our goal, is every time we have a show is get 50 more subscribers on everybody's channel. And if I haven't said it, I'm going to say that I'd like to see 50 more subscribers on everybody's channel tonight. Just putting it out there, universe.
Y'all get to
Please
click.
deliver. Thank you. Pizza.
Oh,
Okay, so I have something that I'd like to talk about too. I'm very happy to be here, as I've said 50 times. And 50 is the golden number, right, for tonight. I just keep saying it over and over again. But
50 is our magic number.
yeah, this is our magic number. And tomorrow I'm actually celebrating Beltane with my friends. But on Sunday, I'm having Andre on my channel to talk about a really geeky astrological topic, whole sign houses. And if that doesn't mean a lot to you, I get it. But for those of you who are into the astrology thing, it's a thing. So come and talk to us, or watch us rather. And Monday, I'm going to be on Caffeinated and Unfiltered. And next week on Wednesday, we're having another Reveal the Future. I kind of skipped it in April because it was, that month. And, so we skipped it. But next Wednesday on May 8th, we're going to be talking about improving the plight for all workers, like anybody, like an Amazon worker, a childcare worker, the lunch lady at the elementary school, anybody who is a worker who can have things taken away, like their lunch hour, right? That's what we're going to be visualizing, that kind of nonsense is eradicated in the next 50 minutes. 50. I got it in there again. Okay. And then we have the Cool Crone next Friday. And on May 11th, Saturday, we have another episode of The Real Psychics of YouTube. And I just have to put in a plug here because we did the initial stream of The Real Psychics of YouTube. And I think it was a hit. And I saw that it was streaming and lots of people were going in to view it. And then YouTube took it down. So I lost all the views from that, which was, I think, probably over. It was 800, but it was probably over 1,000 views. So gone. That's just gone. And that's due to that beautiful new YouTube algorithm. So thank you, YouTube. And I hope the YouTube gods will give it back to me. It's back up on my channel under videos. So I'm going to take a moment now and just show the trailer to get everybody excited about seeing it on May 11th. Get ready to receive the knowledge. We know before you ask, because we are the real psychics of YouTube. Who are the real psychics of YouTube? What's the matter? Don't know because you're not psychic? That's okay. The real psychics of YouTube are psychic enough for all of you. This is where we answer questions before you even know what they are. And the answers will blow your mind. Get ready for another episode of The Real Psychics of YouTube. And we're back. Thank you. Yay. So I hope everybody will tune in, and
that deserves a fan wop.
Thanks, Shari. Thank you so much. Because I think it's a great show, and I really want people to see it. I want to get it out there, etc., etc., etc. Okay. So without further ado, I will pull up one of the New York Times headlines, and we will get to a reading. So the first headline that drew my eye was Mississippi's first serious bid to expand Medicaid collapses. And the problem that they're having, let's see, they could not come to an agreement because they couldn't compromise on something. What was it? See, to unlock, no, it's going to unlock a torrent of funds, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The main bone of contention by Republicans in the state Senate that people could not qualify for the coverage unless they were working. Aren't we talking about Medicaid? How many people who are getting Medicaid are working? Not the majority, I don't believe.
That disqualifies you.
Right? So this is the ridiculousness that is holding it up in Mississippi, where people sorely need this.
Well, yeah, but you can still get Medicaid if you're working. It's just you have to be a very low income.
Yeah, but in Mississippi, they don't receive the federal Medicaid funds because the state government just refuses it. And this was an opportunity for that state to finally get Medicaid funds.
Okay.
So this would be a huge deal for so many people. And think of all the people who have had natural disasters in that area of the country over the years, and the aging population. I mean, it's just like, I think it's unconscionable that the state would not accept that money from the government. And it boggles.
Do we know why they do that? Why are they resistant about that?
I do not know. Maybe somebody knows in the chat.
Because it's taking a handout from the Democrats. I live in the South. That's what I hear all the time.
It's a handout from the Democrats, so they don't want it?
Yeah.
You know, this is as silly as Texas saying that they want to secede from the Union when the rest of the U.S. really supports them, with taxes and whatnot. They get a lot of federal aid because of all the other states. So what are they going to do when they secede? They're going to just,
Imelda asked, do they have to match the funds?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I know that thankfully we had a Democrat for governor 8 years ago, and he took the federal Medicaid, and I think the state had to cover like 5% of the administrative cost. That's nothing. I mean, they blow that much a day at the casino down here,
Right.
So it's like, think of all the people you're helping with that. I mean, because most of the people that get on this program are a level of poor that most of us in the country aren't aware of.
Yeah.
We think of third world countries when we think of people that poor. But I'm telling you, it's
They're
right
very
here.
poor.
It's around the corner, down the street from me, depending on what neighborhood you go into. And, it's unconscionable that we don't have health care for everybody, period, across the board. If you want to pay insurance for extra special stuff, that should be your prerogative. But for basic health care, dental care, eye care issues, that should be covered by the government. I mean, that's a process of us being happy and whole and whatever else it says in them.
Yeah. I want to put up Lori's comment. Mississippi still has the energies in their leadership that have the mindset of the times before World War I. I wish this was not true, but it is. And that just highlights how, backwards their whole leadership is. So my question is, in this November election, is that going to impact at the state level who is elected and who is unelected in Mississippi? Is that going to, we've seen changes in places like Arizona and Kansas and Michigan, and and a lot of that was due to the abortion thing, but this is also getting at the heart of healthcare. So let's see what this is going to bring about for the election in November in Mississippi.
By the way, sorry. I do want to point out A-Dub has gifted 5 the Cool Crone memberships.
Thank you. Thank you so much, A-Dub.
Thank you.
Wow, thanks.
So in the long run, I see just this same problem between Republicans and Democrats, and this has got to change, and just because we're all thinking or at least what I hear, is that when Biden gets elected again, and that we're going to have a lot more Democrats, that will definitely change things because they'll have more of a say and they'll control the House and the Senate, and hopefully all that works out. On the other hand, we need to have where things can cross party lines without being so ridiculous that just because the Democrats do something that the Republicans don't want, even though it's a good thing, like health care.
Yeah.
This kind of thinking within the government is just stifling, and it's just ridiculous because, in the long run, that's why what was it, Tennessee that you're talking about?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Okay, Mississippi is in the crosshairs because they're just so busy trying to be Republican. And so they're not, and all these people are telling me in chat, that they don't want to accept it because it's a Democrat thing, or they don't want to accept it because I suppose it goes both ways. This is something that has to change.
So do you think it'll change during this November election? And will that affect the demographic of the Congress in the state of Mississippi?
Well, I don't know, and not necessarily, because just let's say the Democrats do get the House and the Senate, and Biden becomes president again, all those things work out. But down in Mississippi, it might be a totally different thing. I don't know what how many Republicans and Democrats they have in their House. So, yeah, it could be totally different. But what I'm saying is they've got to eliminate this problem of because the Democrats suggest something that the Republicans automatically dismiss, or vice versa. This has got to stop. And this may, this kind of election this November, if it works out that way, this may change things. On the other hand, let's face it, the Republicans are just they're just not working at a practical level at all. I mean, their energy so low, and they've got so many people in there that are just not good politicians to have in there. So until they get rid of the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the oh God, I can't even remember all the people now. But I mean, there's just so many people that need to be removed and replaced that I think that you're going to still see problems.
So a lot of it's with gerrymandering. The state,
yes,
especially down here, we're in the middle of that fight ourselves in Louisiana right now.
Right.
But the districts are so gerrymandered that these corrupt, ill-gotten politicians that have been in these offices for decades, they don't get voted out because their district is so, fine-tuned to just keep them in that office.
Well, there seems they've gerrymandered it out of control. Right now, Mississippi has a Republican trifecta and a Republican triplex. The Republican Party controls the offices of governor, secretary of state, attorney general, and both chambers of the state legislation.
Same in Louisiana.
So unless the people really can rise up and vote them out, I mean, who knows if there's even Democrats running for these seats? I mean, It would seem like this has been, the tradition down there probably for at least the last 20 years while all of this nonsense has been going on. So the question I was really asking, I mean, I agree with both of you, Shari and Cleo. I agree that this needs to stop. This is the whole result of having just an extremely dualistic society. Yeah. But what I was hopeful for is that perhaps in the November election, there would be some changes in Mississippi. So that's what I was really wanting to find out. So
well, and there will be, but not until some other things change. Go ahead, Val.
I was just going to say, yeah, exactly right. Well, this is what I see happening. There is going to be a sense of loss. So something is going to shift a bit. They're going to have to see things from a different perspective, and they're going to be like in a maze of their own making.
Yep.
And as you mentioned, the districts and the gerrymandering, They laid their egg. They're going to be considered a bunch of weirdos. They're going to be shuffled off to their own island, so to speak. And this is what comes up. Defeat, and they're going to be asked to be allowing. They're going to have to shift in what they're doing, shift their perspective. And even though it is going to take a long while, this is like the trip to doing that. It will end up. There is light. There is light coming. They're going to get out of their illusionment because there's a resurrection for Mississippi coming. It looks like a journey, though. It won't be right when we have our election and the Dems get in there even more. No, it's going to be an evolutionary process of these people ending up leaving their seats, or all this is going to happen within Mississippi. It is going to happen. It absolutely is. I don't know if it'll happen within the first year of the Biden second term, but it will happen. It has to happen, and it says it in the cards. It is a done deal. It's coming.
Yeah.
No, that's it down here. I mean, we in the South, I mean, things are changing. You can see signs of change.
Yeah.
But it's very small, and it gets so much pushback that it almost feels like it doesn't even happen. I know I had drawn some cards on it. The first thing I got was they're going to blow a lot of smoke at it, try to turn it into something it's not, to get the people riled up about something else. But if the folks rise up and they're like a damn river that just takes over, they can wash them away. And maybe moms and their kids can get the proper care that they need.
What happens, though, Shari, is the authoritarian voice gets quieter and quieter and thinner in its power base. So it is just going to be, it's going to happen by the way the water flows. It's going to be it's just going to happen. There's no way around it.
I want to put this comment up from Linda H. Once women start voting in this election, I hope we change all of this.
Absolutely.
Yes. Linda H.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Linda. In my reading, this is going to help shift it. But it's not going to be the full catalyst.
No, exactly.
There's going to be much more disappointment. People are actually going to start. They're going to start losing their sense of possibility, and that things are going to change. I do get a feeling somebody will show up who will help to encourage people to start voting differently, who will start speaking up. And there is this sense of people are just going to have to take their toys home, and they're not going to be involved anymore, because the last card I got is the 6 of Wands, which is the card of victory. Mm-hmm. So it's coming. It's just, unfortunately, it's not going to be this year.
Wow. My cards are way more optimistic than all of you.
Then I like your cards.
I like your cards better than.
So what I have is that women, the Queen of Swords, are going to take control. They do not like what's going on here. I just Googled it, and since 2000, Mississippi has voted Republican for presidents all the way along. And before that time, it was pretty much 50-50. Sometimes it would be predominant, a little bit more Democrat, sometimes a little bit more Republican. So there are Democrats that live there. I mean, they can't all have died since the year 2000. But I also got the Ace of Pentacles. So, there is a strong Republican presence in Mississippi, but this doesn't necessarily mean that they're evil. So they're not all MAGA. But they're very strong in Mississippi. The Democrats are not going to go quietly into the night. They're going to defend their goals, and especially with this and also the abortion issue, because now with Florida making abortion banned, the entire quadrant of the South is just no abortions anywhere. And I think women are going to rise up and say what? Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
This is crazy. The next card that I get is the sun. So there's going to be some illumination on either people or the issues or something, but the sun is going to shine on the voters of Mississippi and kind of wake them up. They've been in a stupor for 25 years and now they got to wake
Longer
up.
than that.
There is a gerrymandering issue going on and it is being addressed. In fact, Mississippi's gerrymandering issue has gone all the way to the Supreme Court. And I'm trying to see here what the
Ours is about to.
status is. This is in June 2023, so about a year ago. No, that's Alabama. What about Mississippi? I was Googling Mississippi. Why did you tell me Alabama? Okay, never mind. I was wrong. I typed in Mississippi and what they brought me was Alabama. So it hasn't gone there. But I did see a little thing. They are fighting it. I'm sure Democracy Docket has a case going on against it in Mississippi too, because it's probably horribly gerrymandered. The final outcome I got is the 10 of Cups, which is Democrats winning big, big, big. There are Democrats in Mississippi. I'm sure we need to do a Reveal the Future show just for the state of Mississippi
Oh,
because
yeah.
it seems to
We
really
should probably do for each southern state.
each southern state. I was just thinking that, Sherry.
Yeah,
You read
'cause
my mind.
we did that for Ukraine.
We did it for Ukraine and we did one for Texas. We need to do it for all the other southern states.
I love that.
So, yeah. So I'm optimistic that there will be a big push of Democratic votes. There, of course, it's not going to take over everything, but it will certainly improve the Democratic presence much more in Mississippi. And I think then they will be able to accept the Medicaid money for the poor because that's who it helps, is people who are disabled and the poor. And they just need it so badly. So I'm optimistic that there's going to be more change than you guys. So.
And the reason why the Republicans down here fight so hard against anything progressive happening is because they know that if progressive leadership gets into office and actually gets some stuff done and people get a taste of what that's like to have health care, to be able to, have a job that pays them a living wage, to not have to live in their car because they have no other choice, or be able to feed their kids. It's going to make that, I think, would be the catalyst that would turn the whole ship around.
Yeah.
It's just going to take the people actually being able to firsthand experience what it is, to live in a state that actually functions for their benefit.
Yeah. I gotcha.
And Colleen, what you said about the women, this came up, this came up yesterday in the Golden Girls. And the women are going to be, they're going to be crossing party lines, mainly about this abortion thing. And then with Trump coming out and saying that, that he was instrumental in the court overturning Roe versus Wade, that is not to his benefit to get reelected. The women are just like, what in the world? Are you serious? Because it's not just about abortions, it's about women's rights. And this is going to be monumental for this election in November, of just where the women stand. And it doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat, they're going to vote for whatever helps them and helps their daughters and, all women. And this is exactly what you said. I mean, the women are going to dominate, and we're working up to that right now. And so I just love to keep putting that message out. So if anybody's not sure where they're going, go for women's rights, because otherwise we are going to be pushed back, well, beyond 50 years. But I mean, think of all our ancestors that fought for all the rights that we now have, and that how different things would be without them. And that's what could possibly happen if we don't stand up and take our rights back. Take our rights.
And I love that The Handmaid's Tale came out now, maybe what, 10 years ago or something, and so many people have watched it. It's still on. They still go back and they watch it. And the closer we get to the present time, when you start watching The Handmaid's Tale, the quicker you go, oh yeah, this is where we're headed if we don't stop it.
It's a cautionary tale, and to the other side, it's a handbook.
Yes, it is a handbook. Yeah. And the other show that's a handbook is Man in the High Castle.
Exactly.
You've ever seen that? That's another one where
whole series. I have to
Yeah.
say, yeah,
they're just like, you watch that and you go, you know
Yeah.
what? That
Yes.
actually could happen. It's
Yeah.
really scary. So, all right. So do we want to talk about how pissed off the Republicans are going to get because of Biden's Presidential Medal of Freedom honorees? Or do we want to talk about Mr. Cuellar, who has been indicted over bribery?
Could we
Let's
answer
do the fun one first.
Can we answer quickly a questions from Anja Ashdown about what caused 45 to flip on abortion? Yeah, that one. And I saw an interview from years ago in which he stated that he felt women should have the right to choose. What the reason he flipped is because he's going all in Republican. This is what the Republicans want. And so they're looking at Trump like, look what he did. Isn't this great? Well, maybe it is for Republican men. It's certainly not for Republican women and all women. So yeah, he only flipped because he's trying to always get support from his base.
And not only did he flip on the abortion issue, he flipped on a party. He used to be fully Democratic.
Yeah, I know.
He supported and contributed bigly to Bill Clinton, and I think whoever was before Bill Clinton,
Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, probably.
It's whatever make the wind, wherever the wind blows with the money. This is the key.
Well, and I think it's something that you said, Colleen, and I'm going to misquote you about, you know, he wanted a party that he didn't want to agree with, but he could control.
Yes.
So.
And unfortunately, the other party is just dumb enough to let themselves be controlled.
He flipped to get the, yes, he did. He did.
And somebody earlier had said even some preachers are speaking out against Trump now.
Yeah.
But just like some Republicans testified against Trump in the January 6 hearings, and now they're testifying in real courtrooms all over the nation.
Yeah.
And stepping down from their seats before the term is up.
Yeah.
They're down to what, a 1-seat lead now, I think, in the House.
They both are by 1 seat, so it's really 50-50. So Shari, which one did you think was fun, the Henry Cuellar or Biden's presidential freedom?
Biden's presidential thing.
Okay. So how carried away do we think the Republicans are going to get with dissing Biden for giving out these Presidential Medal of Freedom awards? How pissed off are they going to get? To what lengths will they go to throw this in their faces? Or how will they spin it to make it bad?
Well, they have a way of spinning everything towards Biden to make it bad. I mean, you'll probably see an onslaught in the media about how terrible Biden is and he's the worst president we've ever had. And, that I don't know exactly how they get around the thing about the economy. The economy is just doing amazing. And the Republicans are acting like Biden is just he's terrible, because that's what Trump says. That's what the Republicans are saying. And so when they come out with something like this, where Biden gives these people what they deserved, an award for what they've achieved in the political world, I guess, or even not within that world, but yeah, they will make a big deal out of it.
I had to put that one up. We were talking about that backstage.
Yes, I mean, Nancy Pelosi is probably one that will go down in history as one of the best speakers of the House. And I don't know how many terms she had with that, but, you know, she's done a phenomenal job and she absolutely deserves that award.
The
But,
amount of things she pushed through is just amazing.
yeah.
And then you see Hakeem Jeffries, who is the minority leader. The amount of things that Congress has done is just amazing, because Joe Biden in his administration has accomplished more than the last 5 presidents put together, and more than even Roosevelt did. And Roosevelt enacted the, you know, like all the, didn't he do all like the public works thing? Was that him or Truman? That was Roosevelt, right? Yeah, I mean, just the stuff that he put out is just incredible. Of course these people should get awards. I mean, and plus the three people, John Kerry, James Clyburn, and Nancy Pelosi, have dedicated their lifetime to this.
Yeah.
And done it very well. Thank God they were the ones who dedicated their lifetime. God forbid Jim Jordan should dedicate his lifetime, because that would be a shit show. So all right. So I as long as I'm talking, I'll go ahead and tell you what my cards say. So the Republicans are going to go into deep introspection on this. They have to come up with something really good. And then once they start talking, it's going to be fast and furious. They're going to have like 5 or 6 different talking points that they want to throw out there. And it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall. They just want to see which one will stick the best. Once they get that, then they're just going to keep manufacturing things to make it come to life, kind of like the Hunter Biden thing. They're just going to follow the same playbook as that. In the end, it's just going to be a big waste of time. They're just not going to be able to come up with anything really concrete, but they're going to continue to spin the delusion. They're going to continue to spin and spin and spin and spin. So you ain't seen nothing yet, folks. You thought that they were goofy and erratic and they didn't make sense and they all should be kicked out before this. Oh my God, especially with the Nancy Pelosi thing. Before they're done, they're going to probably claim that Nancy Pelosi's husband was inviting the guy in and handing him the hammer.
Exactly.
You know, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
It's really bad. And I see the same thing. Here's the hot springs they want to create, but here's the plateau. It's going nowhere.
Yeah.
And what's next? A jail cell. There's going to be so many of them going to jail.
Yeah.
You know, or being indicted, even though they're singing this tune that is full of unicorn juice. Nobody's going to believe it or buy it. So, yeah.
Well, it's just a matter of time before the Republicans claim that Donald Trump should get the Nobel Peace Prize. It will be something just as ridiculous as that.
They've already been trying to get him that when he was president.
When he was still president?
Yeah.
It's going to be akin to the Time magazine photos of him on the cover that never happened. So it'll be like that. It'll be handed to him like at the GOP.
Just anything to distract from what's really going on. You know, they don't want Nancy Pelosi to get any accolades over this, or for Biden to look like he did something wonderful and great, which he did. But yes, it will be something as ridiculous as that. And everybody will be like, what? Well, how does that work?
And I will think that what they will be doing is it's going to be a little juvenile. It's not going to be a well thought out plan. So it goes back to what Colleen was saying about, you know, let's just throw stuff to see what sticks. The problem is it's going to undermine them even more. And they think it's going to make them look good. It's finally going to start shifting the gears, and the things that I think that it'll uncover some of the evil things that they've been doing are going to show up, because I've got the High Priestess reversed, so secrets revealed, you know, so it does not feel. I mean. It's just going to go. It's going to go in a completely different direction than they expect it to.
Because you know, no matter
I
what
also drew the High Priestess
says, it's not going to make any difference.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shari.
Oh, I also drew the High Priestess.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, right now they're blowing a lot of smoke, and they're taking it up into the wild blue yonder because they think that they're going to get people to follow them because they're being schooled by a master and they don't like it. And that's Biden, who's the master over them all, because right now he just applauded and gave an award to Nancy Pelosi, who's the love goddess to so many. And she's going to use her Wonder Woman's lasso to help round up the rest of them. And maybe we'll get lucky and they'll be able to wash the House and the Senate clean. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Jane the Seeker mentioned, and I'm going to put this up. I mean, Colleen, so it's clearly there is a lack of understanding how powerful the Christian right is. They have been planning this takeover since Reagan. Everybody must read the Project 2025.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's really about, yeah. So,
and the goal is to strip women of all rights, not allowed to vote, not allowed to do anything without their man giving them permission. And yeah, it's very scary.
Well, none of that's going to work because the patriarchal society, the autocracy, is on its way out. No matter what you do, no matter who pushes against it, it's just going to come full force. And, there isn't that much they can do except draw attention to women being undermined. What's that going to do? No matter how many gold coins Russia puts in the way, no matter how many watchdogs they bring, it's going to be a sunken ship. It's going to the graveyard. The unicorn juice doesn't work for them. It only works for us, meaning the women who are going to, be powerful and equal partners to the men in the world, because we can put our arms around everyone as brothers and sisters of the world. We have that compassion, that capacity, and that's what's lacking right now. They'll have blood on their hands.
Wow. See, one of the difficulties for the MAGAs is that most of them gained their positions due to gerrymandering. And so they didn't really conquer the opposing view, the Democrats, right? They didn't really conquer them because it wasn't a fair vote. The Democratic vote was diluted so much because of the gerrymandering. So they probably forget how many Democrats are in this country. And so many Republicans have lost, or taken themselves out of the Republican Party. They're not identifying as Republicans anymore. There's no more money in the RNC. It's a highly weakened organization. So these people who are in the Republican positions, how are they going to continue to go on unless they do cling to MAGA? That's the only influence they seem to feel they have. But when it comes to the November election, and I got to mention this, and I think Cleo might understand this, I am getting such a strong smell of the perfume that my aunts used to wear when we were at family reunions. Those women who ran all of our families, their energy is, they're pissed off. They're all pissed off. And
oh my God, they're coming in. They're giving me the chills. You guys just brought your aunts. Holy cow.
I know, I can smell the perfume.
Oh my God.
Smell the perfume, right? Yeah.
Absolutely here watching this whole thing.
Yeah. And
the thing is, it's not just Democratic women.
No.
That are, it's the Republican women too that are like, oh, wait, hold the phone. You want to take my rights away too? I've been boosting you up all the way. And let us not forget, there is a whole bunch of almost 18-year-olds that are going to be voting in November for the first time. And they're looking at all of this crap and they're saying, oh, I don't think so.
Well,
know, from
yes, and there are people out there who are making sure that these newly 18-year-olds are registered to vote. They're encouraging them to vote. They are not
Yep.
telling them for whom to vote. They want them to be registered, and they want them to vote. They want
Thank
their
you, Taylor
voice
Swift.
needs to be heard.
Yes, there's
So,
tremendous amount of female energy and ancestral female energy that
yeah,
is really sort of swirling. Like I'm seeing like a big cauldron, and the smoke coming off the top is just swirling around, and
yep.
it's
Just the
power.
divine feminine energy is overwhelming right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So it almost doesn't matter whether they're Democrat or Republican. They're going to vote for Joe Biden, and they're going to vote for Democratic representatives or Republican representatives who represent the views that they have on certain topics like healthcare, abortion, women's rights. They're not going to vote these people in that are so deluded, in their views. So going back to the MAGAs, who are very weak, they are very much afraid of losing their seats. They're going to lose their seats. They should be afraid because it's coming. They're going to lose them. There's not that many Republicans left in this country. They are not, regardless of how many times Orangina says it, the Republicans are not even 40% of the people in this country. Registered
No.
Republicans are something like less than 25% of all voters.
They're just louder.
They're just louder. That's right. That's
They've got
right, Shari. Yep.
They've got the press bamboozled on the money and the clicks.
Yep.
So they run around and they do follow everything they say while they ignore everyone else.
And it will be so interesting to see if in this election, I'm sure Russia's still doing the bots because I'm seeing it all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And who knows what China's going to be doing, but it's going to be so interesting if they do really attempt to influence the election aside from just social engineering. If they try to actually cheat at the ballot box, that's going to be found out immediately. That's going to be just obvious and out there because
I feel like that's exactly what they are going to do.
And then it will be revealed.
Yeah, it's not just going to be social media influence. I mean, Russia and other countries that want to interfere, they are in this country right now.
Yep.
And they're probably the ones that are misleading the students at the universities.
I was just thinking
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they are. So do you think with that kind of cheating, do you think it will be exposed right away?
I can only hope. I don't know. I just, I don't know why it hasn't been anyway a long time ago. I mean, and why they haven't tried to do something to stop it, and why the media hasn't said, you know what, this doesn't sound right. I don't know where this came from.
I'll tell you why. The media, most of the media is controlled by the money, and the money is coming from dark places. It's coming from super PACs. It's coming from foreign countries. It's coming from entities that can get hidden behind shell companies, so you can't really tell where the money's coming from. And all of those players their whole goal is to cheat to get MAGAs into place. And I don't think it's going to work.
Well, and just so that people know that this is what's going on, you have to use your own head and really research things and not accept these goofy stories that come across it, which make you think like, oh, wow, okay, well, it's not working out the way I wanted. Actually, things are working out the way you wanted, but the media is bringing up stuff that just, it's discouraging, it's depressing. And that's the way they want it to be. So
Mother Russia is doing its damnedest to dig the deepest hole they could think of to try to make us all fall down.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the people in this country are starting to see true north.
I think a lot of people are seeing through it. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll stop talking. Sorry.
I just wanted to bring up the Alan Lichtman, that distinguished professor who likes to choose the presidents by way of his keys. has come on recently to say, you can't do anything with the polls. You can't trust them. Don't ever go by the polls. They're always wrong.
Yeah.
And right now, Biden is leading by, I think he said 7 keys. And he showed how many ways you have to, keys are, he puts it right on his website. It's there. You can Google what the keys are and measure it. But he says that Biden, it's almost impossible at this point. It would be very hard for him to lose enough keys to win to lose to Donald Trump. But he says he'll make his final calculation of the keys in August. But what I'm trying to say to you is this man has picked 9 times the correct president, including when Donald Trump won.
Yeah.
Now, he is saying it would be very hard for Donald Trump to beat Joe Biden in this election. And,
What are you doing?
he doesn't have enough keys. Now, Trump he doesn't have enough. So just remember, this professor says, do not believe the polls. They're never right.
They're never
Okay,
right.
that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's right.
I love that you brought that message out because that's what we need to hear. And that's
Yeah.
Stop.
that yes, Biden will be the next president.
Yes.
But all this misinformation that brings people down.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to say quickly was when we were talking about women and their rights and stuff, that these Republican women, they're not going to be looking around going, well, I need to always vote Republican. That's not the way these women are thinking, especially right now.
No,
So
they're not.
they don't have any problem going a different direction. And plus, they see Donald Trump as, I mean, he had totally disrespects women. He has no, well, we can see by the trial that he's in right now that he has no respect for women. He doesn't fess up. He doesn't take responsibility for what he's done. It's just this constant fighting and battling over stuff. He is just, he is not for women, and women are tired of it. I mean, this has just gotten so far out of hand. And I think I brought this up yesterday on the Golden Girls about that Biden came out and said, I think it was yesterday on the internet, he said, I'm a lover, not a fighter. And I just thought, how ridiculous was that statement for him to make at this point in time when he's under so much scrutiny about what he has to women. I mean,
his mind can't even comprehend what he has actually said and make sense that he's a womanizing cheater who treats women like dirt. Excuse my language. And he is saying, oh no, I didn't do any of that. And then he says,
I'm totally responsible for that.
Yes, exactly. And I claim it with glee and joy and happiness.
Colleen, you had asked about, is this going to be discovered? And I'm going to say yes. And because I have the 7 of Pentacles, you got to wait for the right time. I have Justice, so justice will be served with it. I also have the 10 of Wands, straight up. And this is a person who's confidently carrying what they need to do, because somebody who does this is going to be a heavy load for them to be willing to carry, and it's going to be successful. There is confidence there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Good. Oh boy. Yeah. I'm just, I don't even want to look at the chart of the day of the election. It just makes me crazy thinking about it.
Because somebody said earlier, and I highlighted it, it's no kidding, but now due to Pluto, things are being exposed. Is that true?
Yeah. So yesterday, Pluto turned retrograde for the very last time in Capricorn. And it's still in Aquarius. It's not in Capricorn. It's in Aquarius. And it's going to retrograde back through the first very, very early degrees of Aquarius. But on, I think it's September. I don't know. It's in one of my videos. I'll look it up. But I think it's in September. It retrogrades far enough back that it goes back into Capricorn for a bit. And even just the fact that it's retrograde now, it's still on top of our country's Pluto. Because it moves so damn slow. It's still in orb. So I just wanted to see here. Pluto retrograde. Yeah. It's the very beginning of September. It pushes back into Capricorn. So it's going to be retrograde for about 4 months. And once it hits Capricorn, it only, it barely moves. So it only moves about 10 minutes of space until it stations direct on October 12th. So about a month before the election. So the die will be cast by then, with Pluto having done its thing. And then I think it's November 5th is the election day. It will be pretty much conjunct with our Pluto in our chart. So I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know. I can't. It's very hard for me to think about because it's too important. Such an important day.
Well, and so much, I know that you've got certain things set with astrology, but so much of the energies are going to change and fluctuate drastically between now and November.
Yeah. That's what's happening with astrology, is that in this year, Mars is just racing through the zodiac. Mars is spending no more than 6 weeks in each sign that it goes through until the end of the year, right before the election. I think it's in October. It hits like Cancer, then it goes into Leo, and then it retrogrades back into Cancer, and then it goes back forward. And so it's in the last 2-3 months of the year. It's just in that same area. It's just kind of going back and forth in that same area. But until then, it's just boom, 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 moving all the time, which when Mars changes signs, that's our aggression. That's how we attack one another. That's how we also protect ourselves. So, and it's how we get angry. And so that is shifting the energy tremendously all through the year. 2024, that's one of the big things for the overview of the year, is that Mars is just going lickety split through all these signs. And at the end of the year, it kind of just screeches to a halt in Cancer and Leo and hangs out there for 3 months. So,
and you were talking, I pulled this.
Yeah, there's going to be a few of those. I believe that is why, with all of this astrological energy that's shifting, I believe that is why it has been so hard to predict what really is going to happen to the orange one. Because there's just so many moving parts, and the energy has changed a couple of times since we started even talking about it 2 years ago or whatever. It's just major things have changed. I know the energy changes all the time, but just those major shifts where everybody's kind of agreed on something, and then all of a sudden,
yeah, exactly.
Now it's going over here, So it's like, wow, you feel it.
It's like whiplash.
It is. Yeah.
Hence why we all have to buckle up, Buttercup. The ride's going to be rough.
But what you see isn't necessarily what's really happening. I mean, at the end of the end game of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very, very hard. So do we want to talk about Orangina and what's going on with him in his court thing? Let's talk about that. So do we have in the starred comments, I know people probably want to talk about this, but do we have anything?
I just starred a few just as they've come up, but
I thought that Hope Hicks' testimony was really interesting as they were talking about it for today. The fact that she hasn't been in touch with the orange guy really since she left the White House after he moved out says a lot. So I don't know, Gerald, can you help me formulate a question about this? Because I don't know.
Yes. So
Go ahead.
say a little bit more about what
So-
you're wanting to find
So
out.
I'm wondering about so Trump has been sitting there. He's gotten over the shock that he has had to sit there. You know, he's over that shock. He has accepted that he's sitting there. So now he's probably really pissed.
Mhm.
His anger is starting to build.
Yes.
Now he has somebody like Little Hope Hicks, whom I'm sure he really loved. But he had to have seen the witness list. He had to have known that she was coming in. And her stuff was pretty damning. Her testimony was really a
Mhm.
cherry on Sunday for a lot of points that they were trying to make. So how's he going to react to this?
Trump has an Achilles heel, and I'll tell you what that is. When someone is very, very beautiful, when they're a woman and they hold themselves with dignity and are able to articulate, for some reason, he's taken aback and he's not his normal self with them. Mary Trump, or his wife,
Yeah.
would be one who is restrained and dignified and all of those things, even if you think other things about her. Hope Hicks, his daughter, there are those women, his mother, whom he could not get close to, but wanted to in some way. They represent the immovable object he sees from afar and longs for, but he can't ever breach the barrier or taint them by lashing out. You notice he does not lash out at these people that I have mentioned.
Yeah.
He can't. He's incapable of, because they are that image I told you about. So that's the psychology beyond what's going on and why Hope Hicks can damage him and hurt him in his heart, if there's such a place, because she is that one of those images that would be like, don't want to say mother, because he never got mothered by his mother, but the immovable and untouchable one that he looks at from afar. So he hates women and he loves women, if that makes sense.
Madonna whore.
He's giving these women power over him.
Yeah.
And so he will be hurt in unbelievable ways by this. He did not give Stormy Daniels or
Karen McDougal
the same kind of, I can't touch you, you're here, and I respect you and honor you because you hold yourself aloof from me. If you hold yourself aloof from me, you must be special and I must honor you. There's something in the psychology of that.
Yeah, because he thinks he's irresistible.
Well, and it's the Madonna whore thing, you know.
There it is.
If you're the Madonna, I can't touch you. If you're the whore, I'm going to throw you on the bed and have my way with you.
That's exactly right.
You know,
Well, yeah, he considers both those women bimbos. They're not, you know,
Right. They're
something that he
were
can,
replaceable elements in his.
yeah.
but you know, he's run into a couple things with this trial where he's being confronted. You know, he comes out and lies, and then the next day the judge corrects him. So then he gets through that one, and then he comes back out and lies.
With another lie.
Another lie. He says, "I can't. You know, they're not going to let me testify. It's the gag order." Well, no, the gag order had nothing to do with that. And the judge immediately turned that around. And so then he did have to come back out and say, "Oh, well, I guess I do get to testify." He didn't say he was going to. You know, some people say he will. Some people say he won't.
His lawyers, his attorneys will not let him ever get up on that stand because he will trash himself all over one side and down the other.
That's why I wish he would go on the stand. It'd be great. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, you know, I can't go to my son's graduation. Oh, no, wait. No, I guess I can go. I mean, every time he steps out of that courtroom, he lies. And by the next day or two, it gets corrected. And he is just so he's just not used to having that kind
And
of
the
thing.
last time he got fussed at by the judge for talking to the press, and his lawyers made the argument of, well, you know, he when he leaves, they're all right there, and you know, there's no way to get around it. And the judge just looked at him and said, there are 3 other exits from this building where there are no press. He chooses to walk out the door where all the press is, not out one of the other doors to not talk.
So what do you think is going to be the reaction afterwards from the fallout of Hope Hicks' testimony? And how is that going to kind of affect not only Orangina, but his whole like legal team going forward? Because that was pretty devastating. So Gerald, can you help us?
Well, I was actually what it's going to do is it's going to show the desperation of what's going on, and it is going to put light on the difficulties that they're having. And to be honest with you, I think they're losing hope, the team, if there was ever any hope. But I also, my first card with this is it's interesting. I got the 8 of Wands after her testimony. That testimony, I'm like, when things are going to start speeding up, we're going to start.
I was just thinking that. Oh my God, you took the thought right out of my mind. That's exactly what I was thinking.
This is in his heart. This is how he's feeling. Like it's a done deal. I mean,
and I had the 9 of Wands to go
and
right
you notice
along
this
with.
is the moon up here. The moon, and there's the graveyard. This is, so
I also pulled the 8 of Cups.
There you go.
We're looking at a lot of disappointment.
It is.
And the Magician reversed.
That's what you all are coming up with. This is great. This is wonderful. And I don't do the cards, but the cards speak to you, and I love what they're telling you.
And again, we also have to realize that what we're only seeing. I mean, we're seeing what the media gives us.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of workings underneath all of this, but still, we think it looks bad. He may not really understand what the impact of that is. Somebody in the chat reminded, if you lie to people long enough, they start to believe that that's the truth. And he's starting to believe this is true. So.
Oh, he's always been that way. He's always believing lies. But the way things are going, the way they're building this case, I just love the way they're building this case against him. And it's not going to be just one witness that gets him. It's a collective group of people that are exposing the truth. And Trump's going to have to take what comes to him.
This is what I get. So this is what he's going to have to reassess. He's going to have to check in with everything, how he likes to, in his mind, his crazy mind, because he thinks there's always a way to make a fresh start out of shit. Pardon my French. But he's going to make himself go crazy like a squirrel running on a circular thing over and over and never getting off, because he won't be able to find his way out, and he might have a break, mental break over this, because there's no way out, and he's never not had a way out. So
he's never not been able to buy his way out.
No,
he's always been able to buy his way out.
For the first time, he's getting called to the carpet by the judge over his lies immediately the next day. Then
he's the drunken sailor.
Yes. So then he is now facing testimony that is so damning. There's no way that it's not going to affect him. So now he can't find the fresh start. He can't find how to reassess the situation and spin it. And it's going to drive him a little crazy. I'm sorry, I don't wish that on anyone, but he's going to stay up at night texting and posting things, and he's going to sound like unhinged, and he's going to start acting out in court, because he's going to be he's just going to blow up. He's not enough sleep. All these things are all going to play on him. His frustration's going to build.
Well, and he doesn't have his support group outside the courtroom, and he was very disappointed about that there's not people protesting what they're doing to him. As a matter of fact, there's people that are out there going, put him in jail.
Yeah, and he literally tried to make up stories about why they weren't there. Oh, they won't let him up there. Oh, yeah, they will.
So I think I gotta say two things. One, I gotta say it is so sad that he cannot appreciate how much the judicial system has bent over backwards to accommodate him.
Yes.
He doesn't see it at all.
He thinks the emperor is those are things afforded the emperor.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's very, very sad. And the other thing is that I do think now the next full moon is May 23rd. So that's 3 weeks from now. I cannot imagine him making it for 3 weeks. So maybe at the turn of the moon is when it's gonna come to a head for him. That's gonna be a moon in Sagittarius. Ooh, that's bad for him. Ooh. Oh, that's not good. He's a Gemini. That's opposing his sun. So that might be like really a bad time for him.
Wow.
So yeah, so I agree. I do think that he's going to have a little bit of a mental challenge with this. I agree with you. I can see him starting to spout things out in the middle of court and having the judge having to reprimand him over and over again. And I think
well, that's already happened a couple of times where he's
this is where he can't control it's the catch up on the wall rage. He won't be able to control it. It's different than we've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really out of control. That's the thing. And even if they tell him not to do it, he won't be able to stop. And that's going to lead to that pop that I keep seeing, that's that kind of explosion in his brain or whatever that is going to be really bad.
I keep waiting for him to completely just go off the deep end.
Yeah. Gerald, I'm sorry. I think I cut you off on your reading.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Not at all. I'm watching the chat. There's a lot of incredible chat.
A lot of good stuff going on there.
They're saying a lot of different things and sharing their opinions, which is great. And they're doing so in a respectful manner because this is how adults behave. So thank you.
Oh, let's do Lisa Mars' question.
That may be the breaking point for him.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I could just imagine him blowing up. No, that didn't. No. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
going to be calling him a liar, liar, liar.
Oh,
That's what he's saying about him anyway. Cohen's
He's
a liar.
not supposed to open his mouth, but he will. Don't you think he will not be able to contain himself?
Yeah.
No, absolutely will not. Yeah. No.
Ooh.
No.
It's
going to be a joy to watch.
And then I hope the judge puts him in timeout.
I think they're going to have to put him in a hospital. I don't think he's going to be fit to be in timeout.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, it'll be very dramatic, and we're going to be watching. We're going to be watching someone have a breakdown, and that's never enjoyable to watch.
No, not at all.
Never. I
You're
don't know whether
for them
or at all, but
yeah,
it's awful. And
when they lose touch with reality to that point, it's scary.
And and I agree with Arwen the Grey. Cohen knows exactly how to push his buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we take bets on whether he's going to try to jump over the judge's bench at him? Or just like jump up and throttle him?
He may be tall, but he's kind of like overweight and kind of, I think.
Oh, I
don't think he can move that fast.
I don't think he can get airborne.
You know what? Something happens when somebody's going completely around the bend.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
The adrenaline. Is amazing. It's amazing. I've seen it up close and personal several times. It is not to be believed.
But they'll have a lot of people there that can restrain him.
Yeah, but they won't be expecting it.
No,
Yeah, they won't be expecting it, and that's the thing that makes it so traumatic to watch. It's just like, and people, somebody had mentioned in the chat they've seen people in their lives go through to breakdowns, and it's scary to watch. And there's so much collateral damage, and it's just like going, it's shocking. But I agree. I don't think they're going to be ready for this. I'm not sure anyone realizes what the swing is going to be, what's going to happen, how it's going to come out, because we haven't seen all of him. So
no, not at all. And I do get the devil. He's going to feel tied up as Cohen gets on the stand. It's going to make him feel like he's less than, and he's really going to have to exert effort to defend himself. That's when he flies over and wants to physically punish him.
So maybe he goes up to try to strangle Cohen.
That could be, unfortunately. I hope not, but
there's something. There's
No,
something.
there's something building between those two.
There's something building because
Michael Cohen has had him in his sights ever since Trump threw him under the bus and let him get thrown into prison.
Yes.
What do you think, Colleen?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm too emotionally vested in seeing him do this. I think I don't trust myself to get a good reading. So somebody else talk. So.
Well, that's funny because I was kind of thinking the same thing. I don't really see him acting out like that much right in court, because it just would serve no useful purpose. And even if he is having a breakdown, I think he might be able to control that a little bit, because he's still thinking that he's going to be president, and he would only do it if he thought there was some way that it would be to benefit him. And nothing about doing something like that could benefit him.
Maybe we're seeing what would happen in his head, and then he has the explosion in his head. So he never gets to do anything. He just has this is going on in his head.
There could be some really weird outburst when he comes back out of the courtroom and does his usual thing, like, here, where's the press? And let me tell you this. He might say something so bizarre that everybody just would be, their jaw is dropping. Like, what did he just say? That I see something like that going on, but I don't see him lunging at the judge or even lunging at Cohen.
Well, isn't a bully a coward?
Ultimately, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we're seeing his mind, how his mind is working about it, what he'd like to do. You know how he said he'd like to shoot somebody, or that person should be hanged, or that person should be this is how his mind is working, but he actually said those things. We probably will not see this play out, but this will go on in his head. And I agree with you, Cleo. He's going to come out of the court and say some unhinged stuff.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Well, he's as what happened with January 6th. His goal is to say enough of the right words to get his people to strike and do the dirty work. You know?
Well, and if he loses this case, which it's really looking like he's going to, that I don't think it'll be necessarily the testimony that triggers this breakdown, but when he totally loses the case, I mean, as usual, we're going to appeal. But I mean, I just think that's when it goes bananas. He just starts talking.
Well, it's criminal. He'll go to prison. It isn't like, oh, I lost this. Oh, I'll have to pay money. This is your loss of freedom.
When the Secret Service is already drawing up plans of how they're going to be in the jail with him to protect him, that's when you know that they seriously see the writing on the wall.
Well, there's been a lot of predictions about if he was to go to jail, that he will probably end up in Mar-a-Lago with an ankle bracelet and restrictions. You know, it'd still be very cushy and nice for him, But yeah, the Secret Service, how do they fit into that? They've got to be there.
I somehow do not feel that they're going to remand him to Mar-a-Lago. I don't at all, because I think the American people would be outraged. He's going to have to be put in some confinement.
Yeah, because he himself would be in harm's way if he were at Mar-a-Lago, because he could so easily be attacked by an assassin of some kind, or somebody who wanted to get back at him for whatever. I mean, there's crazies on both sides, not just the MAGA side.
Yes,
they're not going to say, "Oh, you can go play golf. Here, you're a criminal. You're a criminal. Blah 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 of this level, and you can go play golf or do this or do that and eat your fine steaks every night." No.
No, but they also have watched his behavior. Yeah. And they know that if they give him an inch, he will take 10 miles. He will
take documents and he will sell them to the highest bidder.
Well, that's the thing, too. That has to be subtle, too. I got some very interesting cards. I was thinking, what will happen after the testimony from Cohen? And I mean, I got some, Trump is going to, now I'm looking at the Sun card. It's coming out next to the Page of Swords. And I'm thinking that's his brain exploding. I don't think that's the Sun in a good way. And his behavior, the Page of Swords, his behavior just being ridiculous, because he shows up right in the center, the King of Wands. So this is talking about him. And the final two cards I get, Death in the Tower.
That's it. Wow.
Which is the ending of whatever this is that he's doing with his, fake tan pads and the bad comb over. It's coming to an end in an abrupt and dramatic way.
It really is.
So this is either him transitioning, or it is him being so severely debilitated that things have to be taken care of in a different way.
Yeah.
I mean, they may be rolling him into court for the next case.
Well, I honestly hope that whatever happens, that people are, that there's no collateral damage. I want it to be contained.
Yeah, just him.
Yeah.
Just him. He's the only one that's affected.
Yeah. And this is after the testimony. I mean, it's all, and with your tower and death, there it all is. So
really bad.
Well, I started out with the Six of Wands reversed.
Oh,
so not really good. We're looking at, again, that waterfall of information that's just gonna come barreling down on him. And I don't think he's going to be able to deal with it, because he's going to do what he normally does and then try to talk his way out of it. But he's getting to the point, and I've watched several psychologists and psychiatrists in the last month or so who have really been breaking down his speech patterns when he talks to the press, when he does a rally, and how his speech patterns are deteriorating at such a fast clip that it's shocking to them.
But he can't finish the end of words. He can't remember what the end of words are.
Yeah.
So,
So they're calling out the watchdogs, saying, okay, look, y'all got people that need to take care of this man.
Yeah.
Because he is, I watch him when I can make myself sit and watch him. And I see so much of the same mannerisms and symptoms that my mother had towards the end of her dementia, of not being able to say a sentence, not be able to finish a simple word, couldn't remember to blow her nose from one day to the next. Monday she could blow her nose fine, and Tuesday she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And we had to buy a baby thingy to suck snot out of her nose, It's just, it was terrifying. It was frustrating. It was, all of those emotions rolled into one. And I look at Trump and I'm seeing that replay, and it's like deja vu all over again,
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
the mental decline of someone is really frightening to see up
It is.
close and personal. And one thing that you do notice is things like, what do they really focus on? They focus on these little minutia that nobody else is seeing, and then they focus on the huge, big, universal things that nobody can do anything about. Like they just bounce back and forth there. But they also, you do see the speech really suffer. And I bet that they're also not seeing things clearly with their physical eyes. I bet that they're seeing more
Wow.
pineal gland stuff of their kind of like a,
yeah,
not a hallucination, but kind of like a vision. Like
Yeah.
because they're
that's why
brilliant.
their coordination gets so off.
Yes,
Because
yes, because
they
they're
can't.
kind of in another realm at that moment.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really, and they, they cling to whatever reality they think is going to save them until the moment they give into it, and then they're just they just turn into a limp rag.
Yeah.
Then all the muscles go slack, everything, they just, a lot of them just like fall to the ground, or they just kind of collapse in
Yeah.
a way. And it is very frightening. I don't wish that the people in the court see that, or that Trump have to be seen that way. And so it's good there's no cameras in the courtroom, but I hope that he waits till he gets home to fall apart. But he might not. I mean, the signs are that he's
Yeah.
a very proud person who doesn't have a lot of confidence in who or what he is, and he cannot manage this. He can't cope with this kind of stress and pressure. So I mean, it could happen. I wanted to I know it's been almost an hour and a half, but I have one question that I'd like, maybe if people want to just, do it psychically or with a pendulum or something quick, but does anybody think that we're going to get to see any of the other cases before November 6th? Or November 5th? I'm really curious about how you feel about the Washington, D.C. case, the Tanya Chutkan judge case about January 6th. Do you think there's any chance we see that one, or any case before the actual election?
I don't think so. I
Yeah,
think
I'm feeling
the
the same.
Supreme Court holding everything up about the immunity thing,
Yeah.
A lot of people don't see it happening before the
I
election.
have to agree.
yeah,
No. I mean,
yeah.
no. I mean, Justice reversed, Four of Swords reversed, Ace of Wands reversed, Chariot reversed.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't
It's
think
not on the table, but this Manhattan case is a whopper.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
this one case alone can do the job.
Yeah. And how brilliant has Alvin Bragg's team been in the way that they have put on the witnesses? I mean,
Yes.
we heard David Pecker and everybody thought, oh, this is a slam dunk. And then, my God, I just was like, what? There's more? I mean, they had said long ago, oh, there's so much more that's going to come out. You'll be astounded. And I thought David Pecker was the big thing. And I thought, okay, yeah, I get that. But
the evidence is so overwhelming.
So overwhelming.
I think we can stop now and vote.
I think the Supreme Court is going to pass it off down to another court. And it just takes longer and longer to get anything done.
That would be the next step. Passing it down.
Come up before then, where the Supreme Court or some court finally makes the decision that no, he doesn't have the ultimate. He's not immune ultimately for every single bad thing he's done, because he's not, and everybody knows that. It's just ridiculous that we have to go all through this. But that is what, that's what they're doing. The Supreme Court is helping Donald Trump. The Supreme Court is corrupt. Our Supreme Court.
And then some.
This is true.
I just want to say we don't underestimate Fani Willis at all. It's definitely something we do not underestimate her. She is a powerhouse who's going to bring it. So,
Well, if there's a way to do what she needs to do by skirting this immunity thing,
that's the whole thing.
More
The
power.
immunity thing, and that's why I agree 100% with you about they'll kick it back down to the lower courts because it's longer and takes them off the hot seat.
Yeah.
And because they know they can't go along with full immunity, it's not going to ever happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they sure helped out Trump with a big old fat delay.
They sure did.
But Fonnie Willis, once the district court rules on it, and they'll probably rule in a very narrow way that he might get immunity for one particular act, and that's it. But once they've ruled, Fonnie Willis can go ahead. She's not under the auspices of the DOJ.
Yes,
she doesn't
that's
have to
correct.
go along with we don't do cases on it. She doesn't have to.
State of Georgia, she can definitely.
Got almost 20 people to do, so she could do a couple different groups and leave Trump for 2025.
Yeah.
So, but Cleo, I want to say, I can't quite remember, but I want to say that you also said that it would get kicked back from the Supreme Court to the district court very early on too. I believe that you predicted that very early on as well.
Well, I have felt it. But I hated it because I thought that, I hate it that I believe now that the Supreme Court's corrupt. I don't want the Supreme Court to be corrupt. Yeah. I don't want them to be ruling by whoever put them in that position as a judge. That's really disappointing. And then when they said, okay, now the Supreme Court's got to make this decision after another court already made the obvious and correct decision that he did not have that immunity. And then they're going to fool around with it. And that just to help him out, just to make sure that they don't have to do this afterward or before the election. If Fonnie Willis can come up with something, wow, great. Just give her as much support as possible. That would be wonderful. But in the meantime, but it will also be interesting to see what happens when he doesn't become president and what happens in 2025 with all these cases. That's why the other thing I kind of think that I don't know that this case that he's into right now is going to make or break him. But all these other cases, when he doesn't have the president thing to hold on to anymore, that would be, in my thinking, the time when he really
breaks. When you can put somebody in prison, how can that not break you?
Well, let's see if that happens.
If you're found guilty of a felony, are they going to let you go free?
No.
Well, they might because they do make exceptions for him because he was at one point in time president.
But I think here's my prediction. Between now and a year from now, I do think there's going to be a lot more discussion about the cheating that went on from the country that starts with the letter R.
I agree.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot more news that comes out about that. And that's going to start the ball rolling of whether or not he was a legitimate president.
I agree.
It might not be settled by 2025, but I think the news of it, all the stuff coming out in the next 12 months, I think it's just going to be like, you remember the I Love Lucy episode with all the suds coming out of the washing machine? It's going to be like that, man. It's just going to be like. Well,
and I totally agree with Val. I want Val to be correct and right. I want him to have to pay a price for what he's done because it was critical. It could have made all the difference in the world about who won in 2016 if he would have been truthful.
Right. Well, don't forget, we're hearing also, even though most of our media is pretty off and bought off, but we are hearing more and more that it was a mistake for Gerald Ford to pardon Nixon.
Thank you.
And they're all saying that this is what's put us in this position now. I do not think they're going to redo that mistake.
I remember that just ticked me off.
Right?
I was a kid and I was so ticked off. Oh my gosh, I was furious.
Yeah, that was bad.
I think somebody did present that to Biden. Would you pardon Trump? And I think he laughed. I think
I bet he guffawed.
Because that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not happening.
You don't pardon a felon who tried to overthrow the government.
Right. Exactly.
There's no coming back from that. You can't reform yourself from that.
No, you can't.
No.
Yep. Oh, all right, guys. Well, this has been a great discussion and a great bunch of readings. I thank you all for coming and playing my favorite game, PoliTarology. And I'm very, very indebted to all of you intelligent and so gifted commenters. The information that you brought to us is just amazing. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here and hanging out to the bitter end. Look at that, over 300 people in the chat.
Wow.
So I'm very, very, I'm flattered that you're all here. I know you're not all here for me. I know you're here for the other readers, but it's really been fun. It's been a really good night. So thank you all for all of your support. And don't forget that Real Psychics of YouTube is going to be back on May 11th. And I can't wait for that. So that everybody can go get a snack and a bottle of water, because we've been on for a long time, I'm going to go ahead and play the closing video and say arrivederci, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody.